nobody on this road that can save your soul. Almost lost control now. Tell me what you need in a friend, and now pray that we endure to the end again. I'm just saying that I'm here for you. When the world turn against you, I'ma be with you. Got my sword in my hand, you can count on me. I won't run and hide, fight mightily.
Waiting on your house shot. See the Jacob, I'm the apple of my father's eye. I learned the truth for who I was, and it made me cry. If I don't keep the laws of Yah, then I'm gonna die. Living curses, but I'm edifying in my verses. Prepare the hearses for the heathens who be steady.
Shalom, shalom. Call all Yahweh by Shema Mashak, woman like O.F.I. To the 12 tribes are scattered abroad. Greetings. We're doing this in the name of the Most High Yahweh, in the name of his only Salakia, begotten Son, the Mashiach, woman like O.F.I. You know, we coming off of a mighty feast of the dedication. We're moving into the 10th month. We're in the 10th month, the new moon. All manner of prophecies unfolding. We're even seeing a lot of the world is dazed and confused. I titled this live through the spirit, Christmas and Nimrod, right? So if you're keeping Christmas, the pagan folly day known as Christmas, you are worshiping Nimrod. Now I know a lot of people aren't going to want to hear this, right? But this information, this knowledge has to go out. We're in the last times, we're in the end days, right? We got to declare the name of the Most High God and his judgments and his statutes among the heathen, because we are scattered among them, the children of Israel. You know, these are trying times, family. These are times of prophecy, times of all type of dissension on the earth, times of Esau creating all type of laws and framing mischief by his laws, you know, and but the word has to go out. The word must go out, y'all. Hey, whether we prophesying to the wind, in sincerity and truth, the word must go out. So with no further ado, tonight we're going to get in the lesson through the spirit, the pagan Christmas lesson, right? Exposing the Babylonian roots of modern Christmas traditions. Now, this is an interactive study revealing the pagan origins behind Christmas customs with scriptures from the KJV Bible and Apocrypha, using the sacred Hebrew names of the Most High Yahweh, the sacred Hebrew name, like of the Most High Yahweh. So Nimrod and Babylon origins, right? So to understand the pagan roots of Christmas, we must first go back to the beginning, to the land of Shinar, where a mighty hunter rose up in rebellion against the Most High. His name was Nimrod, and his kingdom would birth the false worship system that still deceive the nations today. Right? So when you go into Nimrod, when you go into Akkad, when you go into Babylonian, when you go into Shinar, ancient Babylon, this is all going into Nimrod, right? And a lot of our people don't know that when you're keeping Christmas, you are willingly worshiping and bringing the spirit of Nimrod directly into your home. You're inviting idolatry directly into your household, right? So Genesis 10 and 8 through 10. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before Yahweh. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. So you got to understand, when you go into the geography, right? When you go into the history, when you go into the genealogy, Nimrod was a Hamite. right? You had Ham, you had Cush, you got Nimrod. So Nimrod was one of the grandsons of Ham. So see, Ham, they knew of the Most High because Noah knew of the Most High, right? But Ham, he didn't keep the law, statutes, and commandments. He wasn't a part of that divine lineage, right? That was given the oracles of God, that chosen seed line. So Cush wasn't either. And you know, when you go into the Cushites, right? When you go into the Ethiopians, when you go to Mizraim, right? The Egyptians, when you go into the Libyans, when you go into the Canaanites, and it wasn't given the oracles of the Most High. They weren't given the mantle to pass down the laws of righteousness. All right? But the children of Israel, right? So Nimrod, he already was on the left-hand side. He already had a wicked mind. He already had a wicked spirit that had encompassed and overtaken him because his mind was contrary to serving Yahweh, right? And when it says that Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahweh, this is phraseology showing you that, hey, Nimrod didn't rock with the Most High. Nimrod was hell-bent on proclaiming himself to be above the Most High. Nimrod had that spirit of Canaan, the spirit of Esau, the spirit of dissension, and wicked determination to usurp the Most High, to overthrow the Most High, to set himself up as if he was on the level of Yahweh, right? Reading on. Who was Nimrod? Nimrod was the grandson of Ham and great-grandson of Noah. The phrase mighty hunter before the Lord in Hebrew, ancient Hebrew, right, suggests he was in opposition to or in the face of Yahweh. He established Babylon as the center of rebellion against the Most High God. He didn't, he didn't establish Babylon as the center of worship, right? In order to substantiate his love, his dedication, according to righteousness, to the Most High. He didn't establish Babylon as a center of culture to proclaim his dedication and his allegiance, his obeisance to the Most High God Yahweh. That's not why he did it, y'all. Nimrod did this to slap Yahweh in the face to be good, right? To exalt himself above the stars of heaven, right? The phrase a mighty hunter before the Lord Yahweh in Hebrew suggests that he was in opposition or in the face of Yahweh. He established Babylon as the center of rebellion against the Most High. And in the ancient world, Babylon was declared one of the 7 wonders of the world. Look at this. Ancient Babylon, 7 wonders. Look, 7 wonders of the world. So ancient Babylon is famously associated with one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The hanging gardens of Babylon, described as tiered gardens with exotic plants, built by King Nebuchadnezzar II for his homesick wife, though their exact existence and location remain debated, with some theories placing them in Nineveh, while other Babylonian structures were also considered wonders. The gardens are the specific wonder linked to the city in the traditional list. So Babylon was considered one of the 7 wonders in the ancient world. And Babylon was always inhabited by a spirit of idolatry, a spirit of blasphemy, a spirit of wickedness, a spirit of homosexuality acts, a spirit of satanic worship, right? I believe in the book of Revelations, right? Even when it talks about America being the daughter of Babylon and the Babylon the whore, this is still the center. The center, no pun intended, the center of wicked worship, right? The center of wicked worship. Shalom, Allah. Shalom to the mighty officer, Matan Yalla. But today, we got to understand that there's nothing new under the sun, right? There's nothing new under the sun. And we're going to get that in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 9. And it reads, the thing that hath been, it is that which shall be. And that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. See, the Most High God's judgment is like a ring, all right? There's nothing new under the sun. The thing that has been is the thing that shall be, right? And he said unto me, 2nd Ezra 5:42, I will liken my judgment unto a ring, like as there is no slackness of the last, even so there is no swiftness of the first. Everything is going into rotation. Prophecy is declared, prophecy is fulfilled. Prophecy is declared, prophecy is fulfilled. There's nothing new under the sun. So all of these ancient Babylonian religions, ideologies, cultures, worshiping, deification of idols, there's nothing new under the sun. So Nimrod was one of the sons of perdition on the left-hand side. Now, what I mean by that is that Nimrod came from a lineage of wicked men. See, the Hamites are inherently wicked. And with their blood drinking, right? Damn neck stretching, and they worship ancestors, right? And Nimrod came from that line of Cushites. Now peep game. Nimrod, the mighty hunter who rebelled against Yahweh, established Babylon and led humanity into building the Tower of Babel. His kingdom became the birthplace of false worship that spread throughout all nations. See, we talk about ancient Egypt, right? Ancient Egypt, the precursor to ancient Egypt was ancient Babylon, right? Let's get Micah 5:6. Micah 5:6. And they shall waste the land of Assyria with the sword, and the land of Nimrod and the entrance thereof. Because when you go into Akkad, when you go into Assyria, when you go into Shinar, when you go into the land of the Chaldeans, all of that is going back to Nimrod, right? Thus shall he deliver us from the Assyrians, for we've been in the captivity of the Assyrians, right? When he cometh into our land, and when he treadeth within our border, the Tower of Babel. Under Nimrod's leadership, the people built the Tower of Babel, not to honor Yahweh, but to make a name for themselves and to avoid being scattered. This was direct rebellion against the commandment to fill the earth. Didn't the Most High God say, right, multiply the earth? Didn't the be fruitful? My bad. I said multiply the earth. Be fruitful and multiply, right? Let's get that in the book of Genesis, the first chapter. The book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 28. And God blessed them, the Most High blessed them, and the Most High said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. So this was a commandment from Yahweh. But Nimrod, he said, look, the hell with what you're talking about, right? I'm pushing the spirit to not subdue the earth and not multiply, but I'm pushing the spirit to everybody stay here. Because see, when man has in his mind that he can set up a land and call it after his name, his ordinances, that man can be empowered and he can be exalted into a mighty man of rulership. And he can ultimately attempt to take from in his mind the power and the notoriety that's due to the Most High. And men set themselves up as kingdoms, not knowing it's the Most High God who rules all things. So Nimrod had the same spirit. All right. Okay. So Genesis 11:4. And they said, go to, let us build a city and a tower whose top may reach unto the heavens. And let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. But the Most High God already said, be fruitful, multiply, and subdue the earth. But they didn't want to do that. They directly in their minds and in their actions and in their spirit had the spirit of perdition, the spirit of disobedience, right? Now, what does this have to do with Christmas, Brother Nehemiah? What does this have to do with Christmas? You kind of titled the live Christmas, the worshiping of Nimrod, but all you're talking about right now is the Tower of Babel. It is important to understand the chronology and the history that led and leads up to these things, right? The legend of Semiramis and Tammuz. According to ancient historical records and scholarship, when Nimrod died, his wife, Semiramis, also known, get this, as Ishtar, as Easter, claimed that he had become the sun god. Now, peep this. This Akkadian civilization, right? This predates the civilization of Egypt. Ancient Babylon, let's get this real quick. Look, I'm gonna get y'all something real quick. Right? 1 second. When you go to timeline events from ancient Babylon to ancient Egypt, right? I'm gonna show you something. 1 second. 1 second. I want to see if I can pull this up real quick. Bear with me. Bear with me. What I'm looking for. See, they showing me. I'm gonna find this timeline. 1 second. 1 second. I'm not finding what I'm looking for. But ancient Babylon predated ancient Egypt. That's the point of the matter, right? So when you go to, they claimed that Nimrod had become the sun god. She later gave birth to a son named Tammuz, who she declared was Nimrod reborn. And you hear this same type of situation in ancient Egypt with Isis and Horus, in Greece with Aphrodite and Eros, in Rome with Venus and Cupid, later adopted to Mary and Yahushua. Now listen to this. We got to put this in context. When we say later adopted, we're not saying that in truth that the account, the actual biblical and historical account of Mary and Yahushua is the same as Venus and Cupid. No, what we're building the premise is to show you how the spiritual demon Satan has usurped, has surreptitiously, right, has connivingly tricked you into worshiping Nimrod, Isis and Horus in the Egyptian theology, the pantheon of Greco-Roman gods, and have placated that and stated that that is Yahushua and the Virgin Mary. They've tricked you into thinking that these days that have been given to idolatrous customs are actually the day and time and season and reason that you are keeping Christmas in celebration of Mary birthing our Lord and Savior, Yahushua, who the world calls Jesus Christ. I'm here to tell you, brothers and sisters, straight up and down, you've been tricked. Hey, you've been hoodwinked. You've been finagled. You've been lied to. You've been deceived. You've been robbed. You've been hoodwinked. Right? That's what I'm here to tell you. Now, when you look at this, notice this is Semiramis with the lion, right? Semiramis. This is Nimrod's wife, right? And when you think about this, look, Semiramis was also known as Ishtar. Where do you get Easter from? Little bunnies hopping around, laying eggs. Semiramis, Ishtar, right? What was her name? Ashtoreth. All of these pagan, heathen deities have been disguised and embedded in modern day Christianity through Catholicism, the Holy Roman Empire, right? Nero, what is his name? Constantine, right? And a host of other heathens. Let's move on. This is an ancient relief depiction of Ishtar, the Akkadian name for Semiramis. Now look at this real quick, y'all. When you go into, look at this, Akkadian language and civilization. So this cuneiform, right? I think it's called cuneiform, right? So look, this is the ancient Akkadian language right here. See that? Akkadian. And look, Babylonian, Assyrian, it's the same thing, y'all. So when you hear of Akkad, right, like we saw in Genesis in the 11th chapter, right, we saw how Nimrod was going to, how in Babylon, the Tower of Babel, it was also known as Akkad, the Akkadian language, right? So this is all going into Nimrod. I believe it's also called cuneiform, right? Also called cuneiform. Now, the thing that you have to understand is that, yes, we shared certain linguistic characteristics, right? Yes, we shared certain linguistic characteristics because these are all Semitic languages. I'm gonna get this real quick, right? If we go into proto-Sinaitic alphabets, right? Go into the proto-Sinaitic alphabets right here. You see these pictographic writing systems. So when we go to like Canaanite script, I believe the Akkadian, cuneiform, hieroglyphics. Most of these are proto-Sinaitic script, right? And what that goes into, the proto-Sinaitic script is a Middle Bronze Age writing system known from a small corpus, about 30 to 40 inscriptions and fragments of the Serabit El Qadim in the Sinai Peninsula. Why should this sound familiar, family? Sinai Peninsula goes into, all praise Yahweh Shem Yahushai, the Mount Sinai. That should ring a bell. Moses, the Ten Commandments, the tablets of stone. And we didn't receive the tablets of stone with damn Yiddish on it. The tablets of stone didn't have cuneiform on it, right? Didn't have Aramaic. You know, it was the Proto-Hebrew, which goes back to the Proto-Sinaitic language. All right? Proto-Canaanite. Proto means early, right? It's like you hear the word prototype, right? It's also known as early alphabetic, the earliest trace of alphabetic writing and the common ancestor of the Paleo-Hebrew alphabet, the ancient South Arabian script, and the Phoenician alphabet, which led to many modern alphabets, including the Greek alphabet and subsequently the Latin alphabet, where you get English from. According to common theory, Israelites, Canaanites, Hyksos, the Hyksos conquered Egypt in the 16th dynasty. That's where you get the word Pharaoh from. That was from when the Hyksos conquered ancient Egypt, who spoke a Canaanite language, repurposed Egyptian hieroglyphics to construct a different script. On P did. We would reject this particular we would say this. We understand that they all shared similar phonetics because they all were from that same region in the same script. But just because we shared similar phonetics or hieroglyphs, we didn't have the same meaning applied to the hieroglyph, if that makes sense, right? So not to get too deep on that, but I wanted to bring that up because when we go back into the Akkadian language, right? You had is an extinct East Semitic language that is attested in ancient Mesopotamia, like Akkad, Assyria, Isin, Larsa, and Babylonia, from the mid-3rd millennium BC until its gradual replacement in common use by Old Aramaic among Mesopotamians by the 8th century BC. Akkadian, which is the earliest documented Semitic language, right? Which we understand, like I was saying, Akkad and the region of Shinar, which is essentially Mesopotamia, right? I'm going to show y'all this real quick. So we go to Shinar versus Mesopotamia, right? Look. Shinar isn't a different place from Mesopotamia. Rather, Shinar is the biblical Hebrew name for the southern part of Mesopotamia. So when you go into Erech, Babylon, Erech, and Akkad, these are all synonymous with Shinar, which is synonymous with the region of Mesopotamia, right? The southern tip region of Mesopotamia. So when you go into Akkad or Akkadian script, as we was getting to here, and you tie it back to the timeline of events, this proves that the Akkadian language and empire predated, ancient Babylon predated the historical ancient Egypt. So when you get into Isis and Horus and all of these false gods, these idols, it actually pre-existed in ancient Babylon, right? Now, the reason why this is important is because Babylon and the mystery religion, sun worship, the divine mother and child, and the December celebration of the sun's rebirth forms the foundation of Christmas traditions. So your modern day Christianity is actually rooted in satanic, heathenic, if that's the word, heathendom, practices, customs, rituals, right? Rituals. Let's get this word right quick, y'all. Rituals. Look, rituals. Get the definition. Look, rituals, definition. Ritual. A religious or solemn ceremony consisting of a series of actions performed according to a prescribed order, right? You got to understand that rituals witchcraft, sorcery does not always mean somebody got some damn potion, shaking it up, foaming at the mouth, and trying to put a damn spell on you, right? And this is not a potion, by the way, it's black water, right? Phobic and humic minerals. But the fact of the matter is, rituals doesn't always mean that you're somebody is like the brother said before, got a cauldron with damn frog guts, and no, that's not what that's always going into. See, there's witchcraft on a high level that's done where they make rituals a part of the social fabric. Let's get this. Social fabric, right? The social fabric is a metaphor for the interconnected relationship, shared value, norm, and institutions that bind a society. Christmas is a social fabric. Easter is a social fabric. These are all heathen, idolatrous practices and rituals that they've ingrained into the psyche of the masses as social fabric, where now you voluntarily, involuntarily, right? You got to catch what I'm saying. Voluntarily, because you willingly accept and you do it. Involuntarily, because you've been tricked in your mind as society, that in your conscious and in your psyche, you are involuntarily going with the flow of the social fabric, being inducted and seduced into satanic rituals without understanding, without consciously being aware of what you're doing, because they're playing on a subconscious level. You've been MK Ultra, and you know what? They might flag the channel for saying that, right? Hey, Juneteenth, Black Friday, right? All of these different things, okay? Now moving on, right? When you go into the foundation of sun worship, Israel is called to recognize these origins and come out of Babylon, right? Get Revelations 18:4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. Not all people. The Most High God is declaring, my people, the people of Israel. This is the so-called New Testament. See, a lot of you Christians get bent out of shape and you say, well, you know what? The law's done away with. That's the Old Testament. But the Most High God, through the spirit of prophecy, through Yahushua, and the revelations that he gave to John the Revelator, is being declared in the so-called New Testament, in the book of Revelations, that reveal it. Revelations, right? You have the root word reveal, to bring forth, to uncover, to make known, to come out of her, my people, who are his people, the children of Israel. And this is a cut for everybody who thinks that the Most High God's people is, he's grafted in all of the nations now. Everybody is people. Well, if that's the case, then you will cut yourself, because the Most High God is declaring those people who are called by his name to come out from among her, her customs, her religious practices, her festive days, her holidays, her ceremonies, that ye be not partakers of her sins, because all of these things are sins in the face of the Most High, and that ye receive not her plagues. It's plagues coming to Babylon the Great. Plagues, look, the plagues that are coming, you haven't seen plagues like this. The plagues that came in Egypt have nothing on thermonuclear fire, right? Well, let's take a quick recap. According to Genesis 10:8-9, who was described as a mighty hunter before Yahweh? Was it Abraham, right? Was it Nimrod, Esau, or Ishmael? We know it was Nimrod, right? Bam. Bam. Right here we have, what was the name of the king Nimrod's kingdom that became the false worship seat. We know it was Babylon, right? True or false? According to historical context and scholarship, Semiramis claimed her son Tammuz was the reincarnation of Nimrod. True. They claimed that Tammuz was the reincarnation of Nimrod, and that Tammuz, and that the Christmas tree, the evergreen tree, represented his reincarnation or his rebirth. And then moving on, we have true or false, the Tower of Babel was built to honor the Most High. No. Genesis 11, verses 1 on down, chiefly around verse 4, we know they declared that Babylon and the Tower of Babel was built to actually defy and to disobey the commandment that the Most High God said, be fruitful, multiply, and subdue the earth. They wanted to stay all together and make a name for themselves. And the Most High God confounded the languages there. That's why the word Babel means confused. Or what I meant to press false. I clicked the wrong one, y'all. Salakia. Talking too much, Salakia. Bam. Now, okay, Brother Nehemiah, what does this have to do with Christmas? You're talking a lot. You kind of clicked the wrong answer and all of that. What does this have to do with Christmas? Well, we're about to show you what it has to do with Christmas. All right? We're about to show you. So moving forward. Pagan symbols explained. You know, it's kind of like when you see LeBron James, right? You see him throwing up all type of hand signs, gestures. A lot of these things go into idolatry and pagan symbols of worship that are so subtle because they're weaved into the social fabric that you won't catch them. And that's why we gotta, let me get this quick precept real quick, right? Let me get this precept real quick. You got to study to show thyself approved. You got to study to show thyself approved. 2 Timothy 2:15, right? I'm going to read it in the ESV. Do your best to present yourself to God as one approved, a worker who has no need to be ashamed, rightly handling the word of truth. Berean Study Bible. Make every effort to present yourself approved to God, an unashamed workman who accurately handles the word of truth, right? Let me get it in the KJV as well. Let me get it in the KJV. Matter of fact, I'll get it in KJV. Study to shew thyself approved unto God, right? A workman that needeth not to be ashamed. Hey, don't be ashamed because the Most High God has increased this knowledge, right? Has increased this knowledge. Don't be ashamed that the Most High God has called you out of darkness, right? Don't be ashamed of that. That you can divide the word of truth, right? But thou, O Daniel, Daniel 12:4, shut up the word and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. See, in this end days, the Most High God has opened the understanding of the book. That knowledge is being increased. We're getting a full download to the Holy Spirit. These secret ancient customs that have been passed down generations upon generations by our parents, our grandparents, our grandfathers, our fathers, our mothers, our aunties, our cousins, the social fabric, the social norms. We've been desensitized to the pressures and the idolatrous convictions that they placed on society. So much so that when you hear the truth, you hate it. When you hear the truth, you despise it. When you hear the truth, it makes you uncomfortable. It makes you angry. It makes you upset. Instead of examining through the spirit and say, Why do we bring a tree in the middle of our house in the middle of the winter? Why do we decorate it with light? What the hell? What are we doing? What does this even mean? Why are we looking for a fat Edomite man with a beard to come down our chimney and eat some cookies? Why are we leaving out milk and cookies for an imaginary person? Why do we work so hard? I'm not saying we, but I'm just speaking fictitiously, right? I'm speaking, facetiously from the perspective of masses of Israelites are going to go and they're going to keep Christmas, and they have no idea why they're spending all of their money to get presents and to lie and say some fat white man came down the chimney with a damn beard, or some fat black man, they call black man for that sake. For the sake of argument, for families who want to say it's a black sin. Crumpus. Yo, we gotta get better, man. Hashem Yahushai, we gotta get better, y'all. Right? Every symbol associated with Christmas has roots in ancient pagan worship. Listen. Every symbol associated with Christmas has roots in ancient pagan worship. I'm going to get this Ezekiel. Matter of fact, you know what? Bear with me, y'all. It's a precept that I wanted to get, but I believe I missed. This Ezekiel right here, 8:14. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was towards the north. And behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz. So even in ancient times, during the time of Ezekiel, right? During the time of Ezekiel, you had women, weeping for Tammuz. Think about that. You had women weeping for Tammuz. I'm going to show y'all something. Just to prove all things. I typed in, what captivity did Ezekiel live in? Ezekiel lived in Babylonian captivity, taken from Jerusalem around 597 BC with other Israelite exiles by King Nebuchadnezzar, and settled near the Chabar River in a place called Tel Aviv, not Tel Aviv, Tel Aviv, where he prophesied for over 20 years. This was the second major deportation of Jews, following earlier ones that included Daniel, making a significant period of exile and a new community formation for the Israelites, right? Now we know this says Jewish settlement, but we know that means Israelite, right? Now, the reason why I went here is because when you think about the time of Daniel, which was a captivity, an exile that happened, that predated Ezekiel, right? You have Babylonian culture and influence, because even back from, remember, Nebuchadnezzar, and all of the Babylonian kings, this was a long line of kings that started from the first king of Babylon, who was Nimrod. So all of these customs and idolatrous practices have been adhered to across these thousands of years, these thousands of years, these generations. All right, these generations. So when we get back here, and we clearly see that you have when you clearly see you have Tammuz being worshipped in Babylon during the time of Ezekiel. Now, when you think about, he looked, and he said, then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was towards the north, and behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz. These women, I'm strongly led to believe, are Israelite women. They're weeping, right, for Nimrod's son, who they deified. Let's move on. Bam. So right here, we getting back to it. You got, let me get this real quick. So the tree in pagan culture. In Babylon, the evergreen tree represented Tammuz, born on December 25th. Egypt, the palm trees were used to symbolize resurrection. Rome, decorated trees for Saturnalia celebration. Germanic tribes had the sacred oaks decorated for Yule. So Nimrod was deified in ancient Nineveh artifacts, right? These are ancient Nineveh artifacts. Now, when you go into ancient Nineveh, just to show you, Akkadian, Babylon, right? So remember, ancient Nineveh was the magnificent final capital of the Neo-Assyrian. Remember, Assyrian goes back into Babylon, Babel, Erech, Shinar, Akkad, you know what I mean? Empire located on the Tigris River near modern Mosul, Iraq. Renowned for its vast palaces, libraries, gardens, and massive walls, flourishing in the 7th century BCE under kings like Sennacherib before its destruction in 612 BCE by a Babylonian Median coalition, and famous in the Bible for the book of Jonah. So Nineveh, right? So when you go into ancient Nineveh, there were artifacts. Like, look at this right here. Nineveh, right? Look, Nineveh. So these ancient Babylonian artifacts. And this is ancient Iraq, bro. You know what I'm saying? Ancient Iraq. Persians. Iraqis. Ancient Nineveh, right? Look, they've even unearthed some ancient Assyrian. Look, ancient Assyrian. Let me get this real quick. Look at this. Depiction of ancient Nineveh in Iraq. And here's them excavating some earthenworks, right? It says Nineveh is an ancient Assyrian city located on the banks of the Tigris River near Mosul in northern Iraq. As the capital of the Assyrian Empire in the 7th BC, Nineveh was a political, cultural, and commercial center, particularly during the reign of King Sargon II and Ashurbanipal. The world-famous library of Ashurbanipal, with its clay tablets, was discovered. Destroyed by a Babylonian Median alliance in 612 BC, the city vanished into history. Today, its ruins, unearthed through archaeological excavations, are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Our UNESCO World Heritage Site. So you see right here, this goes into ancient Nineveh, right? Ancient Babylon. Now, the reason why we went there is you got to understand, when you see a Nimrod deified, these ancient Nineveh artifacts are ancient Babylonian artifacts, right? Nineveh, an extension of what was established by Nimrod. So although you have these different kingdoms, you had Babylon, you had Assyrian or Assyria, right? You had the Persians, the Medes. They're all in the same region and all chiefly from the same forefather or runner in terms of Nimrod of creating that kingdom there, right? So you see right here a depiction of Nimrod. And what do you know is similar to so-called Saint Nick, Krampus? You got the fir tree, which you see Nimrod holding the fir tree. You got why is Nimrod in ancient Babylon holding a reindeer? See, they also deified spirits of the forest and things of that nature. You got the fir tree, which is supposed to be the symbol of the resurrection of Nimrod, right? Into him reincarnating into Tammuz. You got the long beard. Right? And look, he's carrying gifts and things, which goes into bringing offerings and presents to Nimrod. And look, he's holding the reindeer, right? Now let me show you this. Let me show you this real quick. Let me show y'all something, Lord willing, to the spirit and power of Yahweh. Nimrod holding reindeer. Bam. Look at this. Look at this right here. Look at this right here. You got Nimrod. This is about 2000 BC. Nimrod's birthday, which we're going to get into, is December 25th, right? Same time as the winter solstice. Because all this is going into sun worship, right? Invictus Soli, the unconquered sun. All the way from ancient Babylon, all the way to modern day America, right? You know? So I'm going to show you, look at this. This right here. Nimrod, the cedar tree and the reindeer. See, he's holding the reindeer. Look at this. This is deep, y'all. This is deep. So this is what Christmas is really going into, right? Let's get this real quick. I want to get this real quick. Look. The association of the biblical figure Nimrod holding a reindeer is tied to theories about the alleged pagan origins of Christmas. Now we know these not alleged, right? We know what it is. But you see, even their AI has been programmed to lie and deceive you, right? You're being deceived even by the AI. All right, let's get on to it. So moving forward, bam. So the Yule log. The Yule log tradition originates from pagan Norse and Celtic winter solstice celebration. In the Babylonian system, the log represents Nimrod being cut down or killed, while the tree that springs from it represents his supposed reincarnation as Tammuz, his son. The burning of the Yule log was believed to bring protection, prosperity, and good luck for the coming year. Pagan superstitions that have nothing to do with the worship of the Most High Yahweh. Right? And look at this. A traditional Yule log. Now, a lot of people in America do this ignorantly by, chestnuts by the open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose. These damn Christmas carols. These table centerpieces. So even if you're not burning the Yule log in America, which is a big tradition in most of your other countries, Europe and so forth and so on, Scandinavia, parts of Asia and things of that nature, right? You have this as a centerpiece. You have the Christmas candles. It says decorated with evergreen boughs, pine cones, holly berries, and candles. The candles represent the returning sun after the winter solstice. So we actually are in the winter solstice right now. It started on the 21st. 21st to about the 23rd or the 24th, respectively, right? Yeah. So while the dried oranges right here symbolize the sun and prosperity, all elements rooted in pagan sun worship and tradition. Isaiah 44:14-17. He heweth them down cedars, and taketh the cypress and the oak. He burneth part thereof in the fire. With part thereof he eateth flesh. And the residue thereof he maketh a god, even his graven image. He falleth down unto it, and worshipeth, and prayeth unto it. So this is what happens, man. You're taking that tree, you cutting it down, you making it into God, you fixing it with nails, letting it stand upright, and you damn going the hell off. Blasphemous. And if you don't repent, the Most High is going to destroy you. And we don't want to see that, brother. We don't want to see that, sister. We're urging you to repent. We're urging you to come out of idolatry. Wreaths, holly, and mistletoe. The circular wreath represents the sun in the circle of light in pagan sun worship. Holly was sacred to Saturn, the Roman god of agriculture. Let's get this. The Roman god of agriculture, right? Roman god of agriculture. Look, Saturn. Saturn. The primary Roman god of agriculture was Saturn, associated with sowing, abundance in the mythical golden age. Celebrated during the winter festival of Saturnalia. But Ceres was also a major goddess of grain, crops, and fertility, equivalent to the Greek Demeter, while Mars, surprisingly, also protected agriculture alongside his role as war god. And this is mad. Last one. Utter confusion, right? Saturnalia. This was a festival, we're going to touch on it, that was celebrated throughout the Greco-Roman world, chiefly in the Roman world, right? Around December 25th. That was a festival, look, in celebration of Saturn, all right? In celebration of Saturn. So going back to it. So, holly was sacred to Saturn, the Roman god of agriculture, and mistletoe was revered by the Druids as a sacred plant with magical properties. Now, if you don't know who the Druids are, we're going to show you this. Get into this real quick. The Druids were the priestly, scholarly, and judicial class of the ancient Celtic society, serving as religious leaders, teachers, judges, and advisors, deeply connected to nature, astronomy, and philosophy, witchcraft, believed in the soul's immortality, and conducted rituals, often suppressed by Romans, but surviving in legend as magicians like Merlin, inspiring modern spiritual paths focusing on nature reverence. We don't revere nature, we revere the Most High. But look, rituals connected to nature and astrology and astronomy, right? So when you go back to, and mistletoe was revered by the Druids as a sacred plant with magical properties, that's more, rituals. So wreaths are circular shape. They represent the sun symbol. Endless cycles of season, which is nature worship. Holly was a sacred plant to Saturn. Used in Saturnalia, red berries equal blood sacrifice, right? In mistletoe, Druid sacred plant kissing ritual for fertility and magic, right? So you're participating in all type of rituals. Gifts under the tree. The practice of placing gifts under the tree originated from offerings made to Tammuz. In Babylonian tradition, worshipers will place gifts at the base of evergreen trees as often as offerings to the reborn sun god on his birthday, December 25th. This practice continued through Roman Saturnalia, where gifts were exchanged during the week-long festival honoring Saturn. All right? You heard it straight up and down, honoring Saturn. So when you're giving these gifts, right? And and that's a good point. The brother said the Pantheon versus the Capitol building. They all look the same, same modern type of architecture, right? And when you think about the gifts under the tree, little do you know you're bowing down, making an offering, making obeisance, bringing presents and bearing gifts in honor of Tammuz. The practice of placing gifts under the tree originated from offerings made to Tammuz. In Babylonian tradition, worshipers will place gifts at the base of evergreen trees as offerings to the reborn sun god on his birthday, December 25th. Remember, they thought Nimrod, Semiramis said Nimrod was a sun god, and Nimrod was killed. That's why the Yule log represents chopping down, the cutting, the killing of Nimrod. But he's reborn in the fullness of the fir tree. To his son, when he's reborn, symbolic, the tree is symbolic of his rebirth, right? The reincarnation of the sun god was said to be his son Tammuz. Deuteronomy 12:30. Take heed to thyself, that thou be not snared by following them, the other nations. After that, they be destroyed from before thee. Because the Most High God is going to destroy the multitude of the heathen, right? And that includes a lot of the Israelites, 2/3 of the Israelites, who go into heathen idolatrous country, right? And and destroyed doesn't always mean physically obliterated. Destruction of heritage. Some things may be physical, right? Destruction of kingdoms. Destructions of all of the things that the so-called white man and his nation, his NATO ally powers, his G20 summits, the sorcery, the witchcraft, the mischief framed by law, the laws that frame mischief, the mischief framed by laws, the destruction of these systems that have been set up and that will be set up, right? How did these nations serve their gods, right? It says, take heed to thyself, Deuteronomy 12 and 30 and 31. Be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise, that thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God. So you can't have a mind frame of trying to figure out how these nations do what they do in wickedness. But you know what? I want to find out how to worship Allah because I want to be like my Muslim brothers and sisters. Man, that's going to hell off. I always tell people, Islam is a wonderful religion if you're a Muslim. I mean, if you're Ishmaelite, if you're Arab. And that's the God that's worshiping the heritage of their forefathers. Now, in the time of the kingdom, there is not going to be any Islam. And don't tell me Islam means Muslim is one who submits himself to the will of God. What God are you talking about? All right? You're not talking about the Most High God, Yahweh. So don't let them get you caught up in saying, you know what? You are a Muslim because you submit yourself. Abraham was submitted himself to one God. Hey, what the hell with that, man? We reject that. Abraham wasn't a damn Muslim. Okay? Abraham submitted himself to the God of heaven, the spirit and power, right? He wasn't worshiping a rock. He wasn't worshiping a pantheon of 360 gods, one for every so-called day of the year. You know? How did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Thou shalt not do so until Yahweh thy God. We should be in the mind frame and the spirit of saying, you know what? However they serve their God, we're going to go the opposite way. The hell with how they serve their God. That's something that we should learn not to do. All right? We have such a mighty law, Deuteronomy 6, right? All of this law, these statutes, these commandments, all right? Key understanding. These symbols were never created to honor the Messiah. December 25th has nothing to do with Yahweh, has nothing to do with Yahweh. They were adopted centuries later by the church to make Christianity more palatable to pagan converts. Kind of like when you think about culinary, right? When you think about culinary, look, let me show y'all something. What food have spices and other cuisine to make it more palatable, right? This is the simile. Spices and herbs make food more palatable by adding flavor, aroma, and depth, transforming basic ingredients like chicken, vegetables, and grains into exciting dishes, with examples including cumin and chili and Mexican food. So spices make foods more palatable. They make them more tasty, more scrumptious, more flavorful, smell better, the aroma, the depth, right? More intoxicating. So similarly, you had the Christian church to make Christianity more palatable in the Roman Empire to the pagan converts. They brought all of these other practices and amalgamated them. I think that's the word I'm looking for, right? Amalgamation, I believe. Amalgamation. Amalgamation. Look, the act, process, or result of combining or uniting. They wanted to amalgamate pagans in the Roman realm. See, most of Rome were actually pagan worship. You know, tribes, Edomites. When you look at Romulus, who's said to be the forefather of establishing Rome, right? You got emperors like Nero. And there's actually a book called, I believe it's called, I got the book. I haven't finished reading. I believe it's called, let me get this book real quick. I think it's called Rome, the Empire of the Edomites. I believe that's what the book is called. Let me see if I can find it. Bam, right here. It's the book right here. It's actually a book by William Beeston. I believe he's an Edomite. Let me see this real quick. William Beeston. Believe he's Esau. Yep. Look. William Beeston. Let me put in author. I believe this might be him right here. Is this? Let me see. I don't know if this is him, but I believe this might be him. Let me see. Author of the Roman Empire. The Empire of the Edomite. Let me see. I don't have a picture of him, right? But I thought that might have been him. It might let it believe it's Esau who wrote this book, right? But nevertheless, look, they're carrying out our menorah. The mighty 7-candle menorah. Are we still in the spirit? We was talking to the elder earlier about Shimei Abishai. Shout out to priest elder Zabat. And we still in the spirit of Hanukkah, the feast of the dedication. And keep lighting your menorahs. Stay in the spirit. Keep that zeal of the Most High on you. Keep your decorations up, right? But nevertheless, this book, right, goes into a Esau being the Roman Empire being the empire of the Edomites. Okay, so when it goes back into Europe, into Rome, most of Rome were actually pagans. Their customs, their cultures, their heritage, their practices, their ideologies, their philosophy were pagan. So when Constantine came along, he actually, when you get into the Arius, empire, right? Some of the first rulers of Rome, what are they called? The Caesars, they were all pagan. They had been sun worshipers, right? We're gonna get into that. So as Israelites, we are commanded not to learn the way of the heathen. Let's do a quick quiz. Match the pagan symbol to its meaning. Christmas tree. We know that this goes into Nimrod reborn. Yule log goes into Nimrod's death. Evergreen wreath goes into circle of life or sun worship. And gifts under the tree goes into offerings to Nimrod. Right? True or false? The Bible in Jeremiah 10 describes a practice similar to decorating Christmas tree. That's true. True, plain upon tape. Right? What does the burning of the Yule log symbolize in pagan tradition? Not the birth of the Messiah, not warmth and family, not the Star of Bethlehem, but Nimrod's death and his rising as the tree. And then true or false, evergreen trees were chosen because they represent eternal life through the Most High. You know this is false. All right. So with that, this is part 1. I'm actually going to, Lord willing, through the Spirit, Most High willing, do part 3 and 4 tomorrow. By Shema Mashak, woman like Yabushai. Probably try to do it earlier in the day, Most High willing. But Most High willing, this has been edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yabushai. We want to give all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh from Yashah. Shalom.